Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 1st, 2017, April Fool's Day. The men's tournament, the final four games will take place today. By the end of the day, the championship will be set for Monday, April 3rd. I want to show you something interesting I noticed in light of the championship game on April 3rd. As I've exposed for the last 2 years, the men's college basketball championship always has a riddle with the NBA and the NBA Finals. And this year, the date of the men's college championship, there's only one NBA game that will be played, and that's the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And there's something that's really fascinating about this. The date of the championship, also the date of this game, is April 3rd, which is the 93rd day of the year. I've been talking about 93 in this men's college basketball tournament since before it began, because 93 is a very special number. It's the number for Saturn, the keeper of time. It's also a number related to championships. The word final equals 93. Last year, the Cavs won Game 7. The final game of the NBA Finals with 93 points in the Oracle Arena. 93, this very special number. The Final Four lands on it this year. Anyhow, with regards to the only NBA action being the Portland Trail Blazers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, these are two teams that have very specific 93 connections. Again, April 3rd is the 93rd day of the year. Minneapolis, the coordinates, they're at home. Minneapolis is on the 93rd meridian, plus the name of the city, Minneapolis, Minnesota, in gematria sums to 93. Out of the 50 states, there's only one that's established on a date with 93 numerology, and that is Oregon. This is the Portland Trail Blazers from Oregon, playing on the 93rd day of the year in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the same day as the men's college basketball championship. And out of the 4 teams remaining, I can paint 3 clear connections to 93 for 3 of those teams. We just talked about how Oregon's from the only state with an establishment of 93. Oregon and South Carolina are the only 2 teams to score 93 points in this men's college basketball tournament out of all the games played. There's only been 2 scores with 93, Oregon and South Carolina. And both of them beat teams with 39 name gematria. 39, the reflection of 93. Also, North Carolina. They won the championship in 93 with Dean Smith. Dean Smith equals 93. Before the tournament began, I looked at North Carolina, this 93 thing, and I said they had a major parallel to possibly win the championship, avenging their loss to Villanova last year. Remember, earlier this year, Clemson from the Carolinas avenged their college football loss in the championship. Also last year, Coastal Carolina won the College Baseball World Series, which was a direct tribute to the Cubs' scripted World Series. Go back and see my work. Anyhow, 93, North Carolina, Dean Smith, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan won the championship with Dean Smith with North Carolina in 82. If you missed my work on Michael Jordan and this year's NBA championship, Michael Jordan is 54 years old, and he turned 54 exactly 45 days before April 3rd. The reason that matters is because 93 is the number for the keeper of time. Saturn equals 93. They tell us the sun is 93 million miles away. Sun equals 54. Jordan's 54. His birthday, his 54th, came 45 days before the championship. 33 days after his birthday, Jerry Krause dropped dead at age 77. Jerry Krause, the GM of the Bulls when they won their 6 championships with Jordan, dropped dead at 77. That's a number that's relevant to North Carolina as well as Oregon. Now think about this. Jordan went to North Carolina. He was drafted by the Bulls only because the Portland Trail Blazers decided to draft Sam Bowie instead. The Blazers drafted Sam Bowie, letting Jordan go to the Bulls. The Blazers from Oregon have only won 1 college championship or excuse me, one NBA championship, and that was in 1977. The end of the 76-77 season, they beat the 76ers. If you've been paying attention to ESPN, they continue to put the same stat up, and it is the most forced stat I have ever seen. They keep writing that this is Oregon's first time in the Final Four in between 77 tournaments. They keep saying that, in between 77 tournaments. Why are they saying that? The Ducks were in the 71st tournament, and they won the championship. If you didn't know, Oregon's the 33rd state. The Ducks used to be called the Webfoots. They won the first college men's basketball championship in 1939, defeating the Ohio State Buckeyes 46-33. A sum of 79 points, 46 plus 33. The word champion, 79. This year's the 79th men's tournament. Anyway, from 1939 to 2017 is 78 tournaments later. ESPN's not saying the first time in 78 tournaments. They keep saying, and they've been doing this all tournament, the first time in between 77 tournaments. It's just because they want to say the number 77, like Jerry Krause dropping dead at 77. North Carolina 77. The Blazers from Oregon only won the championship in 77. There's a chance that Oregon sneaks into this championship, maybe even wins it. But I still give the edge to North Carolina. I suspect North Carolina will beat Oregon today. As I explained, only South Carolina and Oregon have scored 93 points. The word crucifix equals 93. Oregon's the 33rd state, the only state with a gematria of 74, like Jesus, like cross. Think about Jesus on the cross at 33. Oregon, the 33rd state, the only 74, plus the 93 date establishment numerology. The word Christ, by the way, is 77. So think about the Blazers from Oregon winning in 77. They beat Philadelphia, the city that gets its name from the Bible, where the name Jesus comes from. Anyhow, the three teams with the 93 connections, North Carolina, South Carolina, the Carolinas. Before the tournament began, I said I expect the Carolinas to be huge in this year's tournament because it's all about Donald Trump, who won big in the Carolinas. Sports are synced with popular culture. The only team that does not have the 93 connection is Gonzaga. But again, Gonzaga, they have major parallels with this tournament. As I said before the tournament began, if there was ever a year Gonzaga was going to win the championship, it's this year. From the beginning, I thought we might see Gonzaga, North Carolina. They have history in the tournament. They've played each other in Madison Square Garden a little more than a decade ago, 11 years ago. Anyhow, all this 93, the only NBA game, it's interesting that the team from Oregon will be playing in it. Will the Oregon Ducks and the Blazers both be playing on April 3rd? I mean, we'll find out soon enough. But if that happens, if the Ducks make it to the championship, we'll see what happens. But how interesting that the Blazers and Timberwolves, the only NBA action on this night. So we're talking about 93. The men's tournament is in Phoenix, Arizona on the 33rd parallel. Arizona equals 39. Only two states do, Arizona and New York. The reflection of 93. Phoenix, Arizona also sums to 85 like basketball. How fitting. Phoenix alone has gematria 46 like March Madness. Over in the women's, in case you missed the video, the team from Connecticut, the women's team, which always dominates March Madness, they lost to Mississippi State, ending their 111-game winning streak. Mississippi State snaps the 111. It's all scripted. NBA, men's basketball, women's, it's all scripted. It's all predetermined. So anyway, Phoenix, March Madness. Phoenix on the 33rd parallel. Oregon, the 33rd state. South Carolina also has a parallel to 33. If you write out South Carolina, it sums to 156, just like 33. So South Carolina, Oregon have the 33 connections. They're the only teams to score 93 in the tournament. The championship's on the 93rd day of the year. Could we get an Oregon-South Carolina championship? Maybe. That would surprise a lot of people. It's possible. Who remembers this name right here? Walter Scott. You remember that? The fake story from the news about the police officer shooting the black man in the back in South Carolina that was all synced up with the Charleston church shooting. Charleston, South Carolina, where the Civil War began. Go back and see my work. Police equals 33. The name of the officer who shot him was Michael. It's all propaganda. It's all Freemasonry. Also, this tournament, chance for Oregon. Oregon and Arizona were both established on Valentine's Day. You know, interesting. If the tournament is for Oregon, remember this. 33rd parallel, 33rd state, 93rd day of the year, Blazers and Timberwolves. Also, again, with the Oregon Ducks winning in 39, the first men's tournament, Arizona 39, the word duck 39. The Ducks used to be the Webfoots. The Webfoots. As for the name Ducks, Ducks has gematria 58 as well as 77. Almost forgot that one other 77 for the Ducks. They keep saying 77 years in between. Contrived stat. These numbers are very important to Freemasonry. And this is what it all comes back to. It's Freemasonry scripting it. 58 for Freemasonry, like Secret Society. Secret Society also has the 77 connection. Think about Annuit Coeptus on your dollar bill. Annuit Coeptus. If you learn about the history of modern Freemasonry, it was influenced by the Rosicrucians. Rosicrucian stands for Rose Cross, 58. And there's even more, Truth Seeker. But all these numbers very specific. The number of Freemason obsession is 33. Oregon, the 33rd state, calling their team the Ducks. Once upon a time, the Webfoots. You know. So just wanted to document these things about today's game. Everything I'm looking at. We'll see what happens. We'll know by day's end. And I'm looking forward to the scores. Remember, the tournament was announced on the 71st day of the year. March Madness has the connection to 71. The Catholics always play a big role in the tournament. Catholic 71, just like Gonzaga. Notice Gonzaga's playing. Gonzaga's a 1 seed, and they're playing the 7 seed South Carolina, a 7 and a 1. Gonzaga, Catholic, March Madness. By the way, yesterday, March 31st, 2017, that was a date with 71 numerology, and the team that upset UConn, MSST, their acronym. No coincidence. Date with 71 numerology, snapping the 111-game win streak. But anyway, with regards to Gonzaga, it's a Jesuit school, Jesuit 84. Arizona also has the gematria of 84. Remember the day that the two Jesuit schools were playing, Gonzaga and Xavier, there was the shooting on the Las Vegas Strip while that game was going on that shut down the Strip. It was the 84th day of the year, the two Jesuit teams playing. Xavier equals 79. This is the 79th year of the men's tournament. A lot of things have been scripted very nicely for Gonzaga. Of course, they've gone deep. The Final Four is a championship in itself, but we'll see if they can go all the way. There's narratives for these teams. Also, after that Las Vegas shooting, then what happened? Then there was one in Cincinnati where Xavier's from that shut down the nightclub. You know, all rituals. That was on the 85th day of the year, basketball. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, Truth Seeker. I'll be back shortly. Until next time. Encore. Forgot one last important point. Today's date, April 1st, 2017, the date of the Final Four games before the championship. It's a date with 42 numerology. 42. And that is relevant because there's major Jesuit influence. Jesuit also has gematria of 42. One Jesuit school remaining, Gonzaga, from the 42nd state, Washington, which is named after the Freemason George Washington. Freemasonry, always huge. It is Freemasons who are responsible for running these tournaments by the numbers, scripting them by the numbers. We'll see what happens today. Until next time.